Hello, welcome for the weekly portions with the Ramchal. And right now we are right to the portion, very famous portion of Beshalach. And now we are going to get some details about it. So let's see what is going to be in this week. ויסב אלוקים את העם דרך המדבר ים סוף וחמושים אלו בני ישראל מארץ מצרים. But God led the people about the way of the wilderness by the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up armed out of the land of Egypt. So here we have a word, chamushim, and this expression that is phrased and the Jews leaving Egypt. The simple meaning could be that they left armed, as how it was in the text, because easily they could have been attacked by any time. So it was very important for them to be able to defend themselves. Okay, you could easily think about that. Rashi explains that the root of the word chamushim, it is chamesh, which is the case. It's 5. It's meaning 1/5. It implies that only 1/5 of the Jewish people could leave Egypt. And the remaining 4/5 died due to the impurity based on God's judgment. Now we are going to a deeper sense. The number 50 may refer to the understanding of the 50 gates, Hamishim Sha'arei Binah, the 50 intellectual level. The word Chamushim here, however, lacks the letter Vav. And instead of the Vav, we find a Shuruk, the 3 distant dots that below the mem. Whenever we are talking about the Eretz Israel, it's something very precious and very having a high importance. So they not only the Jewish people are leaving Egypt, but they are going to the Holy Land. Okay, then and it is meaning לעלות, descending, ascending. When we are leaving the Holy Land, we are descending via Yordim. They're leaving Egypt and they're going up for the Holy Land. They're going to live in the Holy Land. So also in other sense, they could spiritually ascend to a higher level, elevated level. Also, number 50 appears during the counting of the Omer, okay, that representing the days between Passover and Shavuot. So, and then when we arrive into Shavuot, it alludes to the importance of the Matan Torah, of the giving of the Torah. So this will be the spiritual depth, the development to receive the Torah. So every station they pass to this elevated dam, leading to the spiritual top of the Matan Torah. So Chamushim can be interpreted differently as well, okay? Meaning Chamesh. And they took 5 different things from Egypt. Their animals, their cattle, silver utensils, gold utensils, and clothing. So these 5 physical things manifested on those 10 levels, and that's making up to 50. So our sages suggest that the Jewish people were preoccupied with these 5 physical things, like the animals, cattle, silver utensils, gold utensils, and clothing. So meanwhile, Moses dealt with another mitzvot, such as also took out Joseph's bones and the coffin when they left Egypt. So Moses was preparing all those. So you would easily ask, why didn't the tribes associated with Ephraim and Manasseh taking care of bringing their ancestor's coffin? ויקח משה את עצמות יוסף עמו, כי השבע השביעי את בני ישראל לאמור, פקוד יפקד אלוקים איתכם, והעלותם את עצמותיי מזה איתכם. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he has straightly sworn to the children of Israel, saying, God will surely remember you, and ye shall carry up my bones away hence with you. So Ephraim and Manasseh, these two brothers that later on based tribes on their names. So this column that we are talking about couldn't decide which of them should carry out this task. So basically, to avoid this dispute, Moses, as the spiritual leader, took it upon himself to accomplish to take out the coffin of Yosef. So here we continue. ויגד למלך מצרים, כי ברח העם ויפוח לבב פרעה, ויעבדיו אל העם, ויאמרו, מה זאת עשינו, כי שלחנו את ישראל מעבדנו. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people were fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned towards the people, and they said, what is this we have done that we have let the Israelites go from serving us? So here in the text, we have, first of all, we have the king, Melech, and then afterward we had Pharaoh, okay? Since it's not a repetition, and everyone knows that in Egypt the Pharaoh is the boss, right? We are dealing with a hidden interpretation. The term king does not literally mean a king, but rather refers to the angel who governs Egypt from the higher worlds. So this angel becomes important now, especially because he has to leave the Jewish people as they will soon escape from Egypt. Okay, so they're going to, now this is the time of separation between the angel of Egypt and the Jewish people. And the Shekhinah that was accompanied with the Jewish people in Egypt will now leave after 210 years. So this angel basically sensed that that it would have to lead Egypt further without his spiritual presence. This exile was supposed to last for 400 years. And only had passed 210 years. So the Jewish people left much earlier. So the angel felt that this exile had ended prematurely, and this idea was also mentioned last week, explanation about the Shekhinah. So it is kind of referring again, so the earlier redemption of the Jewish nation. So the Jewish nation was there in Egypt for 210 years, it having the same value numerically as we say barach, that's included in this sentence. Barach meaning escape. So in reality, the Jews escaped from Egypt ahead of time, and the angel now made Pharaoh aware of this fact, that this angel who conveyed to Pharaoh how much this nation how much he lost by let this nation go. Whatever, if he would release any other nations that he ruled, he would have been much better off. But really, basically, the Jewish people, Egypt suffered and lost greatly. So, but it didn't happen, as we know. It didn't. It was under the pressure of after the death of the firstborn that they promised that the Jews could leave. So therefore we see in the following expression, when the Egyptians express their astonishment afterward, what have we done, right? Okay. והם ואמרו, מה זאת עשינו כי שלחנו את ישראל מעבדנו? What is that we have done that we have let the Jewish Israelites go from serving us? ויאמר השם אל משה, מה תצעק אליי, דבר על בני ישראל ויסעו. And God said unto Moses, therefore cries unto me, speaking to the children of Israel, they go forward. So it is the time to leave. ויקח 600 רכב בחור וכל רכב מצרים ו30 כי כולו. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and the captains all over them. In the text, we have 600 chariots infused with a deeper meaning. So this battle takes place between the Tumah, the impurity, and the Kedusha, the holiness. So basically here, the Tumah, they're seeking to destroy the Kedusha. So each has 10 levels. That is hinted by this letter Yud, that having the value of 10. So Tuma and Kedusha in eat separately. They have each of them have 10 levels. 10 levels of purity and 10 levels of impurity. So these 10 levels, it could be divided into the following portion right now. 3, 6, 1. Okay? The 3 is about the thought, 6 is about action, and 1 is the goal, the purpose. Actually, everything is starting with a thought, where we are thinking, and that is followed by an action, and concludes with the goal, the purpose. In this code, we find 600 chariots, in other words, shloshim, also a loose number of 30. So if we consider the mispar katan in the Jewish counting, that those are the numbers ranging from 1 to 10, then the shloshim would become 3, corresponding to the thoughts. And then we have the 600 chariots that correspond to 6, that leading to action. And in the text, we find the army that is 1 corresponds to the goal. So now we have this ratio of 3, 6, 1. Okay, that's having the goal of 10. So the divine plan was for that this impurity was developed greatly in Egypt. And Pharaoh realized his mistake in letting the Jewish people go, thinking that he could capture them at the Red Sea, at the Yam Suf. So therefore, he was chasing them. So this would be the final confrontation with the Egyptians, and they tried to prevent that the Jews could leave. Okay, so this was the moment when they arrived to the Yam Suf. And the reason that I'm explaining you in so much details, that also, so these similar patterns we're going to experience during the redemption. So let's imagine the Jewish people will make aliyah, we go up for Israel, and all the other nations will come to realize their mistake that they let the Jewish people go. They were in the diaspora for 2,000 years. Also, as the same as the Egyptian realized. So, and then comes the fuel of impurity, the tuma, that will harden the nations toward the Jewish people. And then it's going to lead them to attack the Jewish people, could be even in the Holy Land, in the Eretz Israel. So this is the same process that we'll experience at the final redemption, and also that we learn during the this Egyptian redeeming the Jews from Egypt. ואני הנני מחזק את לב מצרים ויבוא אחריכם ויכבדה בפרעה בכל חילו ברכבו ובפרשו. And behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall go in after them, and I will get the honor upon Pharaoh and upon his host, upon his chariots, upon his horsemen. So this is the ultimate struggle, okay? This is example that we'll take for the ultimate struggle. And that point, okay, the final redemption, during that time, it will be clear to everyone at the end that that the Creator is behind all these scenes and operating the world, not only created, but later on operating the world. So the other thing that we could find in this portion, that is the manna. וייסעו מאליו ויבואו כל עדת בני ישראל על המדבר סין אשר בין אלם ובין סיני ב15 יום לחודש השני לצאתם מארץ מצרים. And they took their journey from Elim, and the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after departing out of the land of Egypt. וילנו כל עדת בני ישראל על משה ועל אחרון במדבר. And the whole congregation of Israel, children of Israel, murmured against Moses, against Aaron in the wilderness. So when the Jewish people approach Mount Sinai through the desert, they become hungry and complain to Moses and Aaron. that there wasn't enough food. So that moment, the Creator introduced the manna and began nourishing the Jewish people with it. So this substance is essentially served is for the preparatory elements for reaching and the giving of the Torah. So the manna descended from heaven as like a spiritual bread. So moving away in this physicality, since this is spiritual bread, and that is going to prepare the spirit of the Jewish people for this significant moment of the Matan Torah. So the manna began to fall on the 15 days of the month of Iyar, and they had 10 days more for this to prepare for the Mount Sinai and to take this effect. ויאמר השם אל משה, הנני ממטיר לכם לחם מן השמיים, ויצא העם ולקטו דבר יום ביומו, למען אנסו חילך בתורתי אם לא. And then God said to Moses, behold, I will cause to rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or not. So when the Jewish people approached Mount Sinai through the desert, and they became hungry and complained, So what we have to know about this portion of the man, that it was falling every day, you couldn't make any supply of it, meaning that you could only eat what you needed for the day, and you couldn't you couldn't put by stock at you. Okay. Also, every person had a different flavor. Okay, that's something very interesting. And also on Shabbat, before Shabbat, it was a double portion that will fall. And also what we know about the man, that it's not going endlessly, meaning it says here explicitly, if you behave how you should, you will receive the manna, okay, for the rest of the period that you're going to be in the desert. And also something very important that just a second, I'm going to check. Yeah, just a second. Okay. Just a second. Okay. And also, since we are talking about something very spiritual, the man has a certain connection with a very high spiritual level. Okay, so that meaning that no obsolete, no things were created in vain. Okay, so everything was used, and so it's ecological meaning, or what they ate, nothing became a surplus. Okay, in that sense. So the manna is something very special that the Jewish people ate 40 years during being in the desert, and before they could enter to the land of Israel. So it was something that was prepared for them. And also here in the portion, we will find about regarding Amalek. ויסעו כל עדת בני ישראל ממדבר סין למסעיהם על פני השם ויחנו ברפידים ואין מים לשתות העם. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin by the sages according to the commandment of the God, and escaped Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. So the Jewish people arrived to Rephidim and were thirsty. So the sages teach us that the root of the word Rephidim, it's refui, meaning weakened. So this was the reason that Amalek, the negative force, that time it was a nation, was able to attack the Jewish people at the time they were weakened, right? Okay. והיה כאשר ירים משה ידו לגבי ישראל וכאשר יניח ידו לגבי עמלק. And it came to pass when Moses held up his hands that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. So when the people were lacking the water, truly they missed the chesed, okay? Since water is related to the sephirah of the chesed. So, and also the nature of Amalek was that they didn't fear the Almighty at all. So, and the time when the Jewish people were weakened, it was the opportunity for Amalek, the negative force, to infiltrate. So when Moses raised his hands and lowered them, the struggle was between the Kedusha and the Tumah. Kedusha, the holiness, and the Tumah is the impurity. So basically this battle of Amalek, it's not only that we mean that nation that used to live like many thousand years ago, but and the descendants of theirs, but the people also they are struggling. This is the same meaning of the negative tendencies. So in our negative tendencies, it is a constant fight also that we do have every day. So we must pay attention all the time, and also to be aware that this battle is taking place and we have to continue with it. So this was for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will let you go now and see you next week. Thank you. Bye bye.